Hello, hello, and welcome. I'm so glad to see you all here this evening. Uh, let's take a couple of minutes and get settled first. So, for this practice, we're going to need one yoga block. So, if you have one of those, go ahead and grab it and meet me back on your mat. All right, I'm going to have a seat with y'all. And we'll get started with a little breathing first on this Sunday evening. How are you feeling? Just take a moment to settle in and notice. You're welcome to close your eyes here and start to pay attention to your breath. Notice that you are breathing in and you are breathing out. Let's set an intention. So if you're here for a little relief, that's great. If you came tonight because you just wanted to maybe soothe your hips, I know I said something about nourishing the hips and stabilizing the hips. It's going to be a nice, gentle practice, but a very mindful practice. So while the moves won't be wham, bam, you're going to work a little bit in the mind and deep in the body near the joints. So whatever your intention is for how you want to feel in your hips, go ahead and set that intention. Maybe you're here to feel more stability. Maybe you're here to feel more connected. My intention for you is that you feel better than when you came for this session. And we're going to take a couple more breaths here, just feeling yourself breathing in and breathing out. If your eyes are closed, go ahead and blink your eyes open. And we're going to do just a few rounds of alternate nostril breathing. Alternate nostril breathing will help balance your nervous system. So any tension that you accumulated throughout the day, you'll balance it out with this breath. So take your first two fingers on your right hand and place them right between your eyebrows. And take your thumb to your right nostril. Inhale through your left. And then switch. The ring finger goes to the left nostril and exhale right. Inhale right. And exhale left. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Exhale right. And inhale right. Last little bit, exhale left. Look down at your feet or the mat. Take your hand away. Breathe in and out of your nose. And then lift your chin. Excellent. All right. We're going to start off with a little bit of movement through your hips. So grab the block that's underneath your hips. Take it out from underneath your hips and come onto your hands and knees. I'm going to give everyone a few seconds to land here on the hands and knees. And just start to notice how your body feels here. Take your knees and step them back about 1 inch. And that should get your attention to your abdominals, your transverse abdominis, which is your core. Take a deep breath. And then we're going to start to send the hips around in a big circle. You can make your circles as big or as small as feels good. And we're going to do 3 nice slow circles in one direction. So if you're going clockwise, then you're going to reverse and go counterclockwise. And then the other way. Keep your attention on your breath and the movement in your hips. Just notice what's there and notice what's not there. Send your hips back and forward a few times and notice which muscles you're feeling as you do this nice slow work. And back. And then we'll come back to the center. Notice which muscles you're using here. And then take your hips to the right and to the left a few times. And again, notice what you're feeling, where you're feeling the movement come from. Like if the movement started in one location in your body, where would that be? We don't have to have an answer. It's just getting curious about your movement. All right, next we're gonna line our backs and we're gonna do some pelvic clocks. So I'm gonna give very specific instructions on these pelvic clocks so that we make sure that you're not like loosening anything that doesn't need to loosen there. Engaging all of the right muscles here. So first come onto your back with your knees up and your feet flat. Just rest your arms, palms up on each side of your body. And take a couple of deep breaths. Now start to notice the orientation of your back to the floor. Like you should be able to take a hand and stick your hand underneath your low back. So if for whatever reason you're pressing your low back into the floor, I want you to take your pelvis into a neutral position, and that should take your back off the floor, the small of your back. Right now, notice what your pelvis feels like right now. You can even place your hands on your hips if you like. Now we're going to start with a little bit of lateral movement. So I want you to take your left hip toward your left ear. That means that your hips are going to sway to the left and then back to neutral, nice and slow. So when we slow movement down, your muscles have to work a little bit more. So make sure you get nice and slow. Left hip up toward the left ear and then back to center. Or neutral. Again, make sure the small of your back is off the floor the whole time. One more. Take your left hip up towards your left ear. And back to center. Excellent. Are you going to take your right hip up towards your right ear? So exactly opposite. And then take it slowly, gently back to neutral. Take your right hip up towards your right ear. And then back to neutral. And one more time. Right hip to right ear. And then back to neutral. Notice the deep muscles in your pelvis and hips that are working here. All right, now imagine if you have a cup of water on your belly, on your low belly, you would spill the water out towards your toes, and that's going to make your back arc even more. So it's going to arc up off the mat like a rainbow. And then come back to neutral. And that is a pelvic tilt. Okay. And again, do that pelvic tilt. And most people need more of this. Most people need more of this. And back to neutral. 2 more, pelvic tilt. And back to neutral. And again, pelvic tilt. Go nice and slow so that all the muscles work to move the pelvis there. That's what's going to create stability in your hips. All right, now we're going to do the opposite. So this is not a tuck. This is not tucking your tailbone. There's this really common cue in exercise classes that's like press your belly button toward the floor or flatten your back toward the floor. Please don't do that. Instead, what I want you to do is this. So if you're in neutral, you've got that space between the small of your back and the floor. Now I want you to imagine that the very, very tip of your tailbone that's kind of curled up inside your pelvis is going to lift up toward the ceiling. So you're going to lift. It's not a tuck, but almost tuck. Just lift that up and you're going to feel your core engage. And then bring it back to neutral. All right, we're going to try that a few more times. So without tucking your tailbone, without pressing your back into the floor, I want you to lift the very bottom tip of the tailbone up toward the ceiling. And then back to neutral. All right, we're going to do that 2 more times. Tailbone up. And your back still doesn't touch the floor. It's very different. Back to neutral. And last one. And then back to neutral. Very good. All right, now we're going to go around. We're going to go right hip up toward the right ear. Back to neutral. Pelvic tilt, so your tailbone reaches toward the floor. And back to neutral. Then we're going to go left hip up toward the left ear. Back to neutral. And then we're going to lift the very tip of the tailbone up toward the ceiling. Yes. And back to neutral. Let's go to the left. And neutral. And then lift the tailbone toward the ceiling just a little. Feel the core engage. And then back to neutral. And then the right hip goes toward the right ear. And back to neutral. And then tilt. Arc that back. And then come back to neutral. Take a deep breath. And then gently take your knees side to side to side for a little windshield wiper action. Take another deep breath. All right, now let's roll to our sides and then gently push up to seated. And take your legs straight out in front of you, And your toes are going to look straight up at the ceiling. And then as you move your toes towards you, you're going to engage all of your leg muscles. So I want you to pull your thighs into your hip sockets a little bit. And then slowly take those big toes, nice and slow, toward each other. Let them touch. And relax. And then again, sit up nice and tall. And again, take them toward each other. Now, you can feel on the outside of the hip your glute medius beginning to turn on here, right? That's what I want you to feel. Glute medius is a huge stabilizer muscle and the most commonly dysfunctional muscles in the lower body. So we really want everybody to connect to these muscles right here. Let's do that one more time. All right. All right, you guys feel that? Good. Take another breath. All right. Now we're going to do some different kind of hip circles. So again, all these nice hip circles get the joint fluid moving in the joint, which is nice and soothing for your hip joints. So back onto your hands and knees. I'll give you a few seconds to land here in this position. And we're going to take one leg, make a big giant circle all the way around. Big giant circle. And if a giant circle isn't feeling great, I want you to take a small circle, like a small little circle. You can even go tiny little circles if that feels better. All right, just pick the size that suits you tonight. And then swish. So this asks your body to send more joint fluid into the hip joint. And any joint fluid that is puddling or pooling in one area or another will begin to move through the whole joint. Let's reverse the direction of the circle. The big circle, the little circle, whatever size circle you're drawing here with your knee. Good. And then place your knees, both of them on the floor, and grab your block. Okay, so we're going to use this block as a little platform. So I'm going to show you from this angle what we're going to do. We're going to do some hip hikes. So if you put one knee on the block, the other knee is parallel. And then what's going to happen is my right hip is going to lift up higher than my left hip and then back onto the floor. And then again, lifting it up and lowering it down. My right knee is not moving backward, which a lot of times there's a tendency for that. It's lifting straight up and straight down like an elevator. All right, now you're welcome to add, but don't have to. Hiking up, keep breathing in and out of your nose, and then lift the knee, and then bring it back and slowly lower down. All right, lift it up, lift the knee, put the leg down, and slowly lower down. Good. Hike it up, lift the knee, bring it down, all the way down. Let's do a couple more. If you need a rest, and you know you need a rest, I want you to take it. So we're using a lot of muscle here. You're going to feel this in the glutes most likely. You'll feel it there. All right, come out. Take a breath, and we're going to switch to side two. So the block goes under the other knee, other side. We're going to lift this hip straight up toward the ceiling. Lift it up and lower it down. Good. Lift it up, lower it down. And one of the reasons I love this for pelvic stability is because you can feel all those deep stabilizer muscles that we don't normally connect to in exercises that, like, I could say the name and you would know them, like squats. These are different muscles, aren't they? These are more of your stabilizer muscles. The muscles and the tissues. Let's add a little fire hydrant if you wish. This is just an option. Everything that kind of holds your skeleton in its integrity, right? And that's what we really, when we go to work on joint work, it's really more about that than it is these big, like gym muscles. Lift it up. Slowly take that leg up, take it straight back down. Keep breathing. We're going to do two more on this side. Good, and the last one. All right. Take the block out from under your knee. We're gonna take a breath and then now let's do a little stretch for those muscles that we just worked into. So from the hands and knees, you'll notice we're on the floor, it's nighttime. We wanna do most of our exercises on the floor at night, getting ready for sleep. So you take this left leg, put your left knee behind your right one, and then settle back into your hips. If your hips can go all the way to the floor, I don't want them to go all the way to the floor, I just want them to hover above the floor. Take a breath, I'll show what this looks like from the front. So there's a little cross in the legs, and we have a tendency to grip in the pelvic floor here because the legs are crossed. So I want you to see if you can connect to your pelvic floor, and on your next breath, let your pelvic floor relax. Another way to connect to your pelvic floor and help it relax is to breathe with your belly. So if you feel your belly rise and fall here, expand and contract, your pelvic floor will likely get relaxed as well. A couple more breaths. Take your hands, look at the knee that's on top. I have my right knee on top, so I'm going to twist toward my right. And then gently come out, crawl your hands forward, uncross the knee from behind, and here we go to that second side. The right knee crosses behind the left one. Walk your hands back and sit back into the hips, allow the hips to hover. Breathe deep. Breathe deep. And walk the hands around to your left. Sitting back into those hips, reaching your chest forward through your shoulders. So you get this nice long spine with a twist. Excellent. And crawl your hands forward. Uncross the knees. And then let's come down onto our backs. And we're going to do a little bridge sequence. So again, grab your block and keep it nice and handy so that you can just gently reach over for it. Take a moment and a couple of deep breaths to get settled here. So now you have your heels right underneath your knees. Just go ahead and double check that your right heel is under your right knee and your left heel is under your left knee. And we're going to start off with a simple bridge. So just like we were doing in the pelvic blocks, you want to make sure that the small of your back is up off the floor and it stays up off the floor. And this is for the health of your spine. When we push that back into the floor, like those instructions that can lead to bulging discs, I don't want you to have to go through that. So here we go. We're going to lengthen those arms, palms up towards the ceiling to begin. And on your next exhale, push through your feet, push through your heels, and lift your hips up. Make sure that your knees do not splay apart here. Keep your knees right over your heels. Now from here, platform your shoulders underneath you. So you just tuck your left shoulder and your right shoulder underneath you and push it in through your feet to lift the hips. Make sure you don't squeeze your butt cheeks together. I want you to push through your feet and your legs. And breathe. Pull your sternum towards your chin. And keep using those leg muscles. We're going to slowly put the pelvis down on the floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax, take a breath. Beautiful. All right, now we're going to grab that block And put it under one foot. I'm gonna put mine under my left foot. Now with the feet parallel, but just one of them is higher than the other. So this is gonna make me work my right side a little harder. For some of you, you might wanna go back to that first bridge. That would be like if you start to lift up and your form completely falls apart. You don't wanna overdo it, but I want you to try. At least give it a good try. So take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, push through both feet, but especially your right foot. Coming up into a bridge. And then if this feels okay, you'll continue by tucking your shoulders underneath you. If you need to come out and then put both feet flat on the floor, please do so. Then push through your foot again. Use your leg muscles to lift your hips toward the ceiling and pull your sternum towards your chin. Slowly lower your hips down to the floor. Take a breath. And if that went well, this time, lift your left leg out. Take a deep breath. Now, this is going to be a little more challenging than that last round. So if you were challenged in that last round, try this. And if it's not for you tonight, go back to that second one with your foot on the block, or put both feet flat on the floor. Here we go, exhale. Lift up. Breathe. Tuck your shoulders underneath you. Push again through your standing foot. Take your sternum towards your chin and breathe. Slowly lower the hips down. Excellent. And then come out. And slide that block over to your second side. You'll put your foot here underneath your foot. And then take a deep breath in. And then on your exhale, lift your hips. Tuck your shoulders underneath you and press down through your left foot to lift your hips. Again, if this is a little too much on this side, please put both feet flat on the floor and come into your bridge pose. Push through your feet to lift your sternum towards your chin. Even though your glutes will engage a little bit, I don't want you to squeeze your butt cheeks together. Again, that can create some pain, some hip and low back pain. Slowly lower your hips on the floor and take a breath. All right, next round, option 1, both feet flat on the floor. Option 2, stay here with your right foot on top of the block. Option 3, right leg out. Let's do it. Inhale. Exhale, press through your left foot. Lift the hips. Tuck your shoulders underneath you. Push through that left foot. Breathe. Slowly lower your hips down to the floor. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Keep that block out of your way if it's still there. Place your feet flat on the floor and lift your arms up over your head. Take your knees side to side to side. Windshield wipers. Deep breaths. All right, let's twist. Let's do a little deer pose twist. So when your knees go all the way over to one of the sides, I want you to take your knees wide apart. So like your feet are probably hanging off your mat here. And both knees with them wide, if you keep rolling, they'll both hit the floor. If your top knee is kind of touching that other leg, just bring that leg back. And we're gonna push up to those elbows. Big twist, deep breaths. And see if you can again connect your breath into your belly and feel your belly breathing here. If that feels really good and you want a little bit more stretch in your back, reach your right arm out in front of you, long. And then gently place your left shoulder on the floor and roll all the way over to your right. Keep going and press up to your elbows. Find that breath in your belly. Belly breathing is so good for your low back, your hips, and your pelvic floor. And like, look, your whole system, your whole breathing system. If you want a little extra, you can take that left arm and stretch it way long in front of you. And gently, slowly put your right shoulder on the floor and lie on your back for a nice little short Shavasana. And actually, I'm going to get you started in Shavasana. And then if you would like to continue a little longer, I highly encourage you to do that. But start off by opening your mouth really wide, like the old like you're at the dentist, and then relax your jaw. Tuck your shoulders underneath you again, just like we did in the bridge, so your arms get nice and long. If your low back or your hips are fussy at all, you can move around gently, or you could even grab for your blocks and stick your blocks under your knees. Sometimes that helps your back feel really good here. And just feel your body melting against the floor. And see if you can hold your whole attention on your breath. These last couple of breaths. Stay with it, stay there where you are. Close your eyes. Or just have like a really gentle, soft gaze. Stay where you are for a few more breaths. And focus again on that breath. Right now, there's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. There's no one you have to be other than here, right now, with yourself, with your breath. Thank you for joining me tonight for this nourishing and stabilizing practice for your hips. It's as always, it's really just a pleasure being with all of you and being in the community with you. Namaste, everyone. I hope to see you again really soon. And until I do see you, take really good care.